It's production time. I'm Reid Stefan, Realest puppet in the game. Today, I'm creating my first beat in the brand new updated Studio One Pro 7. This DAW has always been one of the realest in the game, but it just got even better with exciting new features like splice integration, sampler updates, a new page called Launcher, AI stem separation, global transpose, auto tempo detection, and so much more. I'm using the Quantum HD8 audio interface, but you can use any device you like. Press the new tab to create a new session, name our beat, choose your sample rate, and since we're starting from scratch, we're going to record and mix. So let's start laying down the first instruments in our beat. I'm going to create a track that's an instrument, and I always like to begin with a kick drum. Kind of works as a metronome for me, especially when you're making a house track. One of the new features that I'm most excited about here in Studio One Pro 7 is built-in splice integration. Studio One is the first DAW to have Splice's entire sample catalog right here at your fingertips without having to open your web browser or a separate app. Let's go to Instruments, Kicks, and let's start listening. We can use the down arrow, and if we hear one we like, we can press the right arrow. I like this one. It has a nice little sizzle. It's not too heavy, not too soft. Let's drag and drop it onto a new instrument. We could either drag the sample right here as audio, and it'll create an audio track. Or if you want to play it on your MIDI keyboard, we can add it as an instrument. I like going to the mix window, pressing plus, going to your stock PreSonus plugins, and choosing impact. Now you can drag the sample right onto your keyboard. I'm going to do kind of a chill house track, so I'm going to keep the tempo at 120. But before I even get started, I'm going to already commit to a key. I'm not amazing at playing the keys, so keys like A minor, where it's all the white notes, or C major, kind of easy on my brain. But as I'm going to show you later, Studio One makes it super easy to transpose your idea at any point in the project. Let's commit to A minor for now. Turn on my metronome, and we're ready to record. Now, as somebody who's constantly constructing beats out of samples, this new update is something that I really appreciate. You no longer need to have the impact window open. It's now integrated into the edit window. You could simply click here and see the samples that you had pulled up. And if this isn't enough information, you could always resize it and see the full drum pad. I'm going to quantize the main downbeat notes, but I think I'm going to leave the offbeat ones a little bit more loose just to have as much groove as possible. So let's just quantize these guys and see what we get. When you're producing house, the genre of house is really determined by the type of percussion loops that you layer over the kick. So let's open up our browse window, head back into Splice, and let's just search for the genre Afrobeat and see what kind of loops we find. And let's do loops. Loops are a really great shortcut. Hey. Now, obviously, all these loops on Splice are different tempos, but if you notice, as I play them, they're already locking into my 120 tempo. As you can see here, this is a 106, this is a 100, but as you play, you get a 120 BPM preview. So you're already hearing the idea musically integrated into your idea, which just makes browsing so much more fun. I like this one. Let's drag this in. Hey! So now that we got some drums going, let's try and play in a little bit of chords. That way we have a melodic center to kind of start building our track and arrangement out. Let's load up a nice smooth keyboard from the PreSonus instruments. Ooh. This Fairy Light preset is tight. Ooh. Woo! Finally, let's jam out on a bass line. Let's call this bass. So for this instrument, I'm going to go back into PreSonus, and I'm going to open up a sample one. And I'm going to go to Whole Loops and pull up a disrespectful 808 and drop it into the sampler. I'm going to find one that's not like too Jesus. Not too disrespectful. This one might be chill. Go to the mapping page and spread it across your entire keyboard. Take the sustain down so it's more of a stabby bass. So now that we got our beat a little bit more filled out, let's go ahead and check out another new feature with the Splice integration. Sometimes you don't know exactly what to search for, you just want something to excite you. And this new feature in Studio One Pro 7 called Search with Sound lets you drag and drop your entire song without even bouncing it to use your human or puppet-made music to search through other human-made music to find matches in any instrument or style. Let's see what we could do as far as vocals go. That's cool. And everything is going to be acknowledging the key and tempo setting that I picked here at the bottom. Let's try this first one. Hey! That's tight. This is kind of abstract and like non-tonal, but I kind of like that. I can hear even like another bass line that's like real plucky. Let's see if we can find a bass pluck that sounds like that. But let's go back and just do a regular search manually. Let's just search for bass pluck and see what we get. Ooh. Ooh. And let's add another instance of sample 1. And we could drag our sample right here off the timeline. Maybe like a hefty reverb shot after this synth too. Add an insert right onto this track. We'll go to PreSonus. And let's add a room reverb. Just on this track. Let's turn this thing up. I want it to slap. So let's slap some bass slaps in there. Hey. And then maybe we'll do another part where this instrument plays the same bass notes as this part, but maybe an octave up so it doesn't sound as goofy. Maybe we'll copy this loop over here as well. So this is the point where we're starting to get to arrangement. Here in Studio One, you have this option called Arranger. And this is where you can really lay out your song as a finished thing. So for house track, I think I'll make like a little 8-bar intro. So from here to here will be my intro. Next will be my verse, chorus. And then we can kind of move our ideas around accordingly. I want to have the most ideas and maybe like the thump and kick in the chorus. The intro, we could probably save this. So we've got our basic arrangement here. Let's just give our outro a slightly different color. New in Studio One Pro 7 is the launcher window, and this takes your arrangements to the next level. Let's click here, and this gives you the option to switch between your vertical launcher view or your horizontal timeline view. And a really easy way to import your scenes into the launcher is by clicking and dragging. Boom. And you could do one at a time or all of them at once. So now we've got a really fun way to kind of jam out with our ideas and see what each section sounds like. Maybe you want to mute certain elements. And to make it even easier, let's say you wanted this section to come before this section. And let's say maybe you wanted this section to come after this section. We just added a whole nother verse here in our arrangement after our bridge. And now we have another chorus. Plus, if you like your new arrangement, you can also very easily drag it back over here, maybe double the length of your outro. Boom. Or if you want to experiment with entire new arrangements, you could create a playlist and call this version 2. And now you can drag things up and maybe create an intro that goes straight to your chorus, and then a verse, and then a bridge. And you can experiment with as many different arrangement versions as you like, all using the launcher. And of course, everything is draggable right back into your session. But let's go back to giving priority to our timeline view, and let's keep arranging our song. So I think I want another verse to come after my chorus. So you can also hold Option and just drag everything over. Do like no drums at all during the bridge. Take these out. Take this out as well. This next feature in Studio One 7 is something that I've been waiting for a really long time. This allows you to get inside of a song that you don't have separate stems for. It's called AI stem separation. Let's take a WAV file that I want to sample some vocals from maybe. And let's say I don't have the acapella to get access to those separate files. Simply drag it into your Studio One project, right-click on it, go to Audio Operations, and Separate Stems. Now this gives you the option to get all 4 stems, which, you know what, let's just, for the example of this, let's grab all 4 even though I only need vocals. Boom. And we've got stems of 4 different instruments that made up this track. Let's take a listen. Let's listen to just the vocals.
You know just what I want.
Hey,
I know you
let's take the drums out too.
The key to turn me on. I'm on my way. I'm on my way. Already synchronized. Don't gotta say it, baby.
So now that we have the vocals that we need, we could simply just delete these tracks that we don't want, and we've got a finished vocal stem. Completely separated by Studio One Pro 7 new AI algorithm. So we've got our new sampled vocals in here, but what tempo were they originally? Studio One makes that very easy to find out by right-clicking, going to Audio, and clicking Detect Tempo.
I know you got the body, the key to turn me on.
So it already detected the original tempo, which was probably around 100 beats per minute, and it sped it up to 120.
You know just what I want. I know you got the body, the key to turn me on. I'm on my way. I'm on my way.
We've got the tempo correct, but the key is still clashing with our instrumental. Let's figure out how many steps we got to transpose it to get it into the key of A minor. Maybe we'll add some more reverb to these as well. We'll just copy this room reverb over. We've got some little vocal samples. And you could use this on splice loops, on finished commercially released songs, on anything. It really takes sampling to the next level, being able to sample sounds from within consolidated audio. Super next level. Now, hypothetically, let's say you're deep into a project, and once you get around time to start recording vocals, you realize you've produced it in a key that's not good for your vocals range. Studio One Pro 7 makes that super easy to transpose everything in a single click. You can choose exactly which tracks you want globally transposed by selecting or deselecting the setting here in the inspector. This is especially helpful for not affecting things like percussion elements and drums when globally changing your key. So here's our original key. Let's go up 3 and see if it sounds better. That's crazy. And it even does our vocals too. Hey. Maybe 3's a little too much. Let's try just 1. Or back down to your original key. Just type in 0. Let's create one more instrument to trigger some percussions, and we'll call this percs. We'll do another impact. And let's browse Splice and see some percussions. And we'll do drum one-shots just to narrow it down to what I'm looking for. Let's also do a hi-hat open. drop this here on A. Let's insert a new pattern by holding Option and double clicking. So here inside our pattern creator, we have a standard step sequencer. Let's say you wanted to maybe do something funky. Let's use this little laser as an example because it's easy to hear. You don't need to do a perfect 16-bar pattern. You can also take this and do maybe like a 7-bar pattern where it does something different every time it loops around. So now it's looping every 7 beats. These new percussions have got our beat feeling really filled out in the drums department. Let's add a little bit more MIDI and melodic elements to this beat before we take a final listen. I'm going to check out a brand new instrument that just dropped in Studio One Pro 7 called Deep Flight 1. This synth has an endless collection of spacey pads, chords, and keys, and I'm going to go into organic keys. Let's check out some of these presets. Ooh, this is nice. This is cool. And one more Deep Flight 1 for a high string pad in the background. And let's take a listen to our finished beat. So there you have a beat made from start to finish in the new Studio One Pro 7, and all the new features and updates that make this one of the most practical and useful DAWs in the game. The learning curve is really so simple, and no matter what type of workflow you prefer, PreSonus has something for you. To learn more about Studio One Pro 7, I'll include links in the description below, and catch you guys next time in another video. Peace out.